Good evening and welcome to it. It is the OMU podcast right here with your host, Uneto Machele. And today is no different. A new episode and a new person that we're going to speak to. But before we do that, please, guys, do not forget to hook up with us on our social media pages. That is on Facebook, Instagram, as well as on LinkedIn. On YouTube, you can simply like and follow and also share the content. You can also give us a thumbs up, which means that you like the content and you're engaging with our content, but also hit the bell notification button so that you can be notified every time we have a new episode up on our YouTube channel. So I did say we've got a new episode. This is episode number 21, if I'm not mistaken. So we're moving along very nicely. So the gentleman I want to be talking to today is someone that I actually went to class with. This is my classmate, and he was the head boy of our year. And I'm talking to Mr. Gavin Stevens. Gavin, how are you?
Hey, Neto. Yeah, really good to be on. Doing really well.
Cool, man. So where are you in the world?
I am currently based in Bangkok in Thailand and have been since early 2019. So 6 years here and no plans to leave.
You've got no plans to leave. So what are you doing there? What kind of businesses are you in?
I'm working at a company called Agoda, which is not very well known in South Africa. I had never actually heard of it before moving here for the job, but it is similar to Booking.com. So we're actually part of the same group as Booking.com and Kayak and Priceline. So all in the travel segment. Agoda is the main online travel agency for Asia. And yeah, working at Agoda in a product management role. And yeah, loving it.
Cool, man. So you're in the hospitality industry, basically.
The company works in the hospitality industry, but my role is actually in tech. It's more a tech role than a hospitality role. Yes.
Got you. So in high school, we have a lot of nicknames, right? I had a nickname, and I don't need you to tell everybody what my nickname was. So yeah, this is about you, not me. So what was your nickname in high school?
I definitely can remember your nickname, but I'll keep it between us for now. And with regards to my nickname, it's a really good question. I don't know that I ever had a nickname that stuck, but as my former classmate, maybe you remember a nickname that I had, because I think it was Gavin or Gav.
Yeah,
but I don't know if there was ever another nickname, honestly.
I think you were too serious in school for you to have like a fun nickname. So we just said it was Gav. Okay.
Yeah, so that's it.
So you are in Bangkok right now, but I'm sure you didn't start there. What are some of the things that you did after school?
After school, moved to Cape Town in order to study at UCT. And never left Cape Town. So once I graduated, I got a job there and lived there until I eventually left to move to Thailand in 2019. And yeah, the first role that I had there, the first job that I had there after graduating was in consulting. Stayed in consulting for 3 years before moving into the tech world as a product manager. Worked at what was then Kalahari, which I'm sure some people will be able to remember, that then merged with Takealot, which is now far better known than anything else. And yeah, in Cape Town, that's where I met my wife, and yeah, that leads us to Bangkok, where we are today.
Cool. So how different is Bangkok as compared to Cape Town? Because Cape Town is pretty international in terms of living standards and everything that goes on around Cape Town. So how have you sort of assimilated to life in Bangkok? Was it similar to life in Cape Town?
I'd say there's quite a lot of differences. So, I mean, Cape Town is, as you say, very international, but I think the level of sort of tourism and just how international can't really be compared to Bangkok.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact numbers, but Bangkok normally ranks sort of in the top 2 or 3 most visited cities in the world. So, you know, there's tens of millions of tourists here all the time. And well, not all the time, each year. And what that means is that this is a city that's not just enormous, even compared to cities like Cape Town, but it's something that caters to absolutely everyone. Like I can go out and find dinner for 10 Rand, but I can also go out and eat dinner for 10,000 Rand and everything in between, right? And it's the same like that for everything. It's like that for apartments that you're staying in, it's for food, it's for anything. Transport, there's an array of everything that you could possibly want. And yeah, it's a great international culture, not just Bangkok itself, but also like the company I'm working at. It's very international, a lot of expats, but also a lot of locals. Yeah, it's a really, really great place.
Cool. So we had our teachers. Your dad was a teacher. How was that actually? How was it having your dad as your dad at home, and then your teacher, dad at school, and your hockey coach in the sports field? How was that sort of like for you? Was there any pressure?
I would say early on in my time at Muir, it was a little bit strange figuring out what that relationship needed to sort of look like. But you get very used to it, right? And everyone around me sort of gets used to the fact that, yeah, my dad is in the same classroom or is the coach or anything like that. And it just becomes more normal. And so, no, I don't think it was high pressure. I feel like in general, I was treated fairly and similarly to everyone else. But again, it's not something that I know differently, right? Like I only know a life where my dad was at my school. I don't know a life where my dad wasn't at my school. So it's very difficult to say what it's like from the other side when I haven't seen the other side. But yeah, it was good fun.
Cool. So going back to teachers, right? We know that we had teachers that we feared at school. So for you, who was the teacher that you feared the most?
I think there's one teacher that comes to mind here, and that is Mrs. Hartley in the junior school. And the funny thing is that when I think about what made her scary, I can't come up with a whole lot. Like I think she had quite a mean death stare that striked fear into us. But she wasn't someone that like really shouted or like screamed or did anything like that. And yet at the same time, I know everyone was really terrified of her when we were in her class. And what makes it even more interesting is as you get older, like even in senior years of high school and as an adult, she's like an amazingly friendly, like super nice, like an amazing person. Yeah.
I was about
And
to say
so
this is
it's interesting. I think it's just about your age at the time, like when you're in her class, that she seems really, really scary. But yeah, absolutely love Mrs. Hartley.
No, man, I agree with you on that one. Mrs. Hartley was like the nicest person ever. But obviously, if you step out of line, she'll like discipline you. So it's one for Mr. Francis and one, actually, it's two for Mrs. Hartley because Mrs. Hartley is the second time she's been mentioned on this podcast. Okay, so we played hockey together, right? Part of the first sports team from Muir College to go overseas. Played in England and had a great time, great international experience. What were the sort of, I know you also did a bit of long distance running and swimming, if I'm not mistaken. How did you sort of choose your extramural activities at school?
So we were lucky. We had a lot of choices of extramural activities.
Yeah.
And I really just chose things based on what I enjoyed doing. So hockey, for whatever reason, was always my sort of primary sport. It was the sport that I enjoyed the most and that I looked forward to the most and loved the most. And we were lucky because you remember we had the indoor sports center, so we actually had the indoor hockey league through summer and then the outdoor hockey through winter. So that allowed me to play hockey right through the year.
Yeah.
But in summer as well, water polo, when we had water polo, it was unfortunately phased out while we were in high school. but water polo was my main summer sport. And I think what made those two sports, both hockey and water polo, my favorite was that they were team sports.
Yes.
And that is, one of the main things that I think schools should be for is for playing team sports. I think they're just awesome fun. And I think, also having a lot of consistency in the team, like as you mentioned, we played hockey together. And I mean, it wasn't just for a year or for 2 years. I mean, we played together for multiple years, right? A lot of the team stayed the same for 5 years through high school. And so you get to know the people that you're playing with really well, and build good relationships and good bonds with people.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way I chose my sports were just how many sports could I play, and what did I enjoy the most. So even managed to fit in a little bit of squash and tennis into the spare time as well.
We create friendships, sometimes long-lasting friendships in schools. Sometimes, those friendships do fall off as we get older and we meet new people. So how have your friendships from high school evolved until now that you're an adult, assuming that you're still friends with some of the guys that you went to school with?
It's a great question. So, friendships do definitely evolve. And as I mentioned, as soon as I left school, I moved to Cape Town.
Yeah.
And there weren't a lot of us from our class that moved to Cape Town. And of the few of us that did, we didn't have any overlap. We weren't studying the same things or anything like that. And so just not having that contact, the friendship sort of naturally erode over time and disappear. But yeah, I think that the distance does play a big role in things. Even now, moving further away, like to Thailand, it becomes a challenge even to stay in touch with your family, let alone sort of stay in touch with old friends.
True.
So yeah, I'm not in regular contact with anyone from the class, but I also hope that doesn't mean we're not friends anymore. If anyone's in Thailand, they must look me up, and we can definitely go out for a drink. Yeah.
All right, that's a good one. So I want you to share with me a memory, like a fun memory that you have from school.
You actually touched on it. I think one of the coolest memories is the UK tour that we did for hockey in 2004.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's so many things that if I think about are really great memories that stand out so clearly about that tour. Like all of us cramping up during that first hockey match where we couldn't move because the temperature was so cold. And some really funny things where I don't know if you remember, a couple of the really fancy schools kept trying to sort of serve us beer after the hockey matches. And then my dad and Mr. Boert would like run around like grabbing the beers so we couldn't drink the beers. But that was just how they used to operate, right? Like these really fancy elite schools. So yeah, I mean, there were so many really cool things that happened, but we worked really hard as a team to train and get ready for that tour. And yeah, I think it was just a really cool experience with a great bunch of guys.
Cool. Now, you live far away, so reunions do seem to or will be a bit tricky for you, having to travel for a weekend, I suppose, or for a week for a school reunion. But have you attended any school reunions? And if so, what are the most, or which one is the most memorable to you?
So I have attended one, partially. I attended the 10-year reunion, and why I say it was partially was because Mr. Hopley asked me to talk at the assembly, the Founders Day assembly.
Yeah, I remember.
But I fell ill and I needed to cancel, pull out the day before the assembly. But I was luckily still able to take part in all of the rest of the events and the fun things that were happening for the weekend. But yeah, it's the 25-year reunion is approaching much faster than you or I would probably hope. And yeah, I'm sure I can make a turn there for our 25 years if we get a good bunch of guys together.
Cool. So we have talents at schools that are obviously displayed on the sports field, or when it comes to academics. We don't want to leave out the smart guys. So do you have any other hidden talents that you discovered as you got older?
I really don't think so. I yeah, I don't have any of these cool secret talents like a wonderful musician or a wonderful singing voice or anything like that. Yeah, but talents in general shouldn't be kept secret. If you've got a talent, you should use it, enjoy it, and let everyone else enjoy it too.
So to answer that question, no hidden talents.
Yeah, I've got nothing hidden. Nothing hidden about me. I'm super plain. What you see is what you get.
Okay, cool. How do you believe that your time at Muir College? Because we're very privileged, and I always say this, and I'm always proud to be a product of a school such as Muir College, because I believe that it's afforded me a lot of great opportunities where I can let my talent, or not my talent, rather, my confidence speak out before I even speak, So how do you think your time you spent at Muir sort of prepared you for life after school?
It's a great question, and I think that all of us that have been to Muir will sort of echo that same feeling about the readiness that you feel and the confidence that you feel heading out into life after being at Muir and finishing your school career at Muir. There's a couple of things that I think sort of particularly stand out to me. So the first one is the obvious one, right? The academics, which you need if you're wanting to follow a lot of fields where you're looking to do tertiary education or anything like that. And that was great, right? We got the education that we needed. The marks and the results that I managed to achieve got me into the university that I was hoping to get into, which of course was a big stepping stone into the rest of my life, the future, and what I was able to do after that. Another aspect which I think is particularly strong at Muir versus most, if not all, other schools that I've ever seen or taken a look at is our focus on respect and discipline.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these are absolute life lessons, right? These are things that you need to carry with you through life. And while, Mr. Francis is also a little bit scary and pretty close to the top of my list, he, yeah, I mean, a lot of respect for him because he really did take discipline seriously. And I thought it was really good how he managed to keep, hundreds of rowdy boys in line. And yeah, it really does teach you as a young boy to, behave and how to behave in certain situations, which I think is good. So that's another aspect that I really think is strong coming out of Muir. And then the last one I'll mention is again using a word that you also chose, which is opportunities.
Yeah.
So even as not the biggest school, the number of opportunities that Muir affords you is awesome, right? If you look at like the extramurals, the number of sports that you have, the number of clubs, the number of societies, just the different things that it exposes you to. It really is pretty awesome, and it allows you to start at an early age, trying out different things and figuring out who you are, like what do you like, what don't you like, and it helps you make really important choices later in your life, like what do I want to study, what do I enjoy, what do I like doing, should I be doing this, should I be doing something else? And so, yeah, the opportunities that you get at a young age end up being very, very valuable in decisions that you make slightly later in life. And yeah, just about learning yourself and what it is that you're wanting to do. So for me, it's very clear there's a number of different things that I can link to Muir that have served me very well in life.
Okay. So we're reaching the end of the interview. What is your best achievement that you think you've achieved thus far? This is always a tough question.
So for me, I would say that's quite an easy question. So for me, it's my family.
Okay.
So meeting my wife and having two kids And my wife and I have worked really, really hard to build a really good life for ourselves and for our kids here in Thailand. And as I say, we're very happy here. We've built a life that we like. We've got no plans to leave, despite a lot of people being very surprised that we ever moved to Thailand in the first place. But yeah, it's a lot of hard work, but we're very happy with where we're at right now, and very happy with the people that we have surrounding us. So unquestionably, that is my proudest achievement.
Cool. Final question, sort of question, but I would like you to share a bit of insight or a life lesson, whether it be for, maybe we can make it a hybrid for the older guys and also for the younger guys. So something that could sort of be understood across the board.
It's a very tough question. And, often I look at myself for questions like this and say, I'm still looking for people to give me this advice. I don't feel ready to give any advice to anyone else.
You must listen to more of this.
But yeah, exactly. Like I'm still so sort of lost in life. I need help from other people. But I would say that being willing to take a chance or take a risk, not always following the path that's easiest or the most common. And that's really how I ended up in Thailand, right? So to go with a bigger story there, like we were choosing, my wife and I were choosing, should we move to the UK or should we move to Thailand at the time? And the reason we chose Thailand was basically because we've never heard of anyone that's moved to Thailand, right? So let's just give it a shot and let's see if it works out. And 6 years later, we couldn't be happier. Like there's not 1% of me that thinks any other choice could have potentially been better. And there were so many times that we almost chose a different option. Like I had been traveling just before I had my final interviews for moving to Thailand. I had been traveling and I was in Madrid at the time for work. And I remember calling my wife and saying, like, should I even bother going to Thailand for interviews? Like, do we even want to go there? Like, maybe we just shouldn't. It's much easier if I just fly straight home rather than, flying home via Thailand. And my wife said to me, you've already got the tickets. At worst, you can sort of take Thailand off your list of places that you've been. And I sort of begrudgingly agreed with her. And yeah, I think of all of these small things that, I was almost looking for reasons to choose the easy option that everyone does, that's going to the UK. And sitting here today, I'm so glad that I didn't. And so, of course, it was a risk and it could have turned out badly, but it didn't. So, yeah.
So basically, Gavin is saying basically take more risks. If you're given a choice, don't take the easy way out. Thank you very much, Gavin. And I wish you all the best out there in Thailand. It's a holiday destination, so I'm sure one of these days or years I might rock up there and I'll give you a shout.
More than welcome to give me a shout. And yeah, we can definitely go out and reminisce.
All right. Cool, man. Have a great day and cheers.
Awesome. Cheers, Nero.
Cheers.